Hello, and welcome everyone to our webinar on middle childhood, building your child's resilience. This webinar is designed to empower parents to build on their child's resilience, and we'll be focusing on children aged 7 to 12 years old. My name is Emma, and I, along with my colleague Karen, will be your hosts for this webinar. Both Karen and I are Childline therapeutic support workers at the ISPCC, and we're delighted to be delivering this webinar to you in partnership with Calpol. Thanks for taking the time out to watch this webinar, and we hope you find it helpful. So hopefully you've had the opportunity to watch our first webinar in the series, Supporting You and Your Child to Develop Resilience, and that you've a little bit more knowledge on what resilience is and why it's important. But as a reminder before we start, let's take a look again at what resilience is. So resilience is the ability to bounce back or recover from a difficult situation. Resilience is about how people deal with life's challenges and how they overcome them. As parents, we can support our children to manage the feelings that may arise from difficult experiences and help them to learn from these challenges. By helping them to gain coping skills as children, we're preparing and supporting them for bigger challenges in adulthood.
So, as Emma mentioned, middle childhood spans between 7 and 12 years old. So, this age group ranges from second class in primary school to about first year in secondary school. So, when a child reaches 12 years old, their brain has stopped growing in size, but hasn't stopped developing yet. And it keeps developing until they're about 25 years old. So, for a 12-year-old, abstract thinking, problem solving, and applying logic are all becoming easier, but things like impulse control and organizational skills are still developing. So, what does this mean in day to day life? So, this means that some children at this age can still act impulsively. So, maybe do silly things to get attention, overreacting to frustration, disappointment, mistakes, or criticism. They still want to have the first turn at something and the last word. And they might not have a full understanding of how their words and behavior affects other people. So some developments in middle childhood are an increased importance of friendship groups. So they want to be liked and accepted and start to become aware of peer pressure and also show more independence from parents or family. There's an increase in ability to apply logic and reason. So, this is learning to share and cooperate and understand that people can have a different point of view from them. They're also developing their own personal values and morals. So, asking lots of how and why questions, have less of a focus on themselves, and show more concern for others. They also learn better ways to describe experiences and talk about their thoughts and feelings.
Okay, so as we mentioned in the first webinar, there are three building blocks to resilience: self-esteem, self-regulation, and social support. How we remember these are through the I am, I can, I have model. I am refers to self-esteem. I can is how we regulate our emotions and behaviors. And I have is who we have in our social networks, our social supports. We're now going to talk about the seven C's of resilience. And as we talk through these, you will see that self esteem, self regulation, and social supports are also an important part of this model.
So, Kenneth Ginsberg is a pediatrician who specializes in building resilience in kids. So, he believes that if we want our children to experience the world as fully as possible, they need resilience. Dr. Ginsberg developed the 7 C's model to provide a practical approach for parents and communities to prepare children to thrive. So, this is competence, character, confidence, contribution, connection, control, and coping. So, our first C is competence. So, competence is about having skills. In terms of resilience, it's the ability to handle stressful situations effectively. It's not just a vague feeling of I can do this. It's more about trusting your own judgment. So, children become competent by being able to develop skills and having the opportunity to practice these skills. These skills can range from everyday activities to coping skills and social skills and everything in between. When we highlight what children do well, and when we give them the opportunity to acquire new skills, this builds resilience. So, how do we do this? When you notice what your child is doing right, tell them. So, for example, have they got their school uniform ready? Have they packed their own lunch, cleaned their room? Have they helped out with shopping or cooking or any other household chore? Support your child to focus on building on their strengths by giving them more opportunities to use these skills. And again, acknowledging what they have done well and how this will affect them and others. Make safe mistakes so they have the opportunity to use their own problem solving skills. If we jump in too soon with a solution, it can disempower them from finding their own solutions and having confidence in their own ability. So just take a moment and have a think. What competence skills do you recognize in your own child? Have you told them? And do you, as a parent, give your child a chance to use and develop their strengths?
Okay, thanks, Karen. The next C we're going to look at is confidence. Confidence is the belief in one's own ability and it's rooted in competence. So children gain confidence by being able to demonstrate their competence in real situations. So when parents support children in developing competence, children believe they can cope with challenges and they gain confidence to try new things. They trust their ability to make sound choices. So take a moment and think, how do you build confidence? Think about how your own confidence grew, or what are your own confidence boosters? And how would this work with your own child? As parents, we can help build our child's resilience by praising our children, but making sure that the praise is honest and specific. So rather than just saying, you're a great artist, you can say, I love the colors you used in that painting. Look at the bright red and the blue birds. Sp- Specific praise is more believable and your feedback will have more impact. And this also increases self esteem. Another thing you can do is instead of focusing solely on achievements, you can encourage the development of personal qualities like kindness, fairness, patience. You might say, that's so kind of you to share your sweets with your little sister. Finally, we can encourage children to strive for goals that we think they can achieve, but that are a bit beyond what they've already accomplished. We need to be careful not to undermine confidence, but develop it by pushing children to achieve and creating age appropriate opportunities for experiencing success.
So, our next C is connection. So, this is connections with other people in schools and within the wider community. When children are part of a community, so a class, a team, a club, they know that they aren't alone if they struggle and that they can develop creative solutions to problems. Close ties to family, friends, schools, and in the community give children a sense of belonging and security. And children who have these ties are more likely to have strong values and are less likely to seek out alternative destructive behaviors. So have a think about your own connections, what's important to you, and have you been able to provide your child with opportunities to join local clubs or youth groups? Do you encourage them to develop close relationships with others within these groups, within class? You can also show your child that relationships matter and role model this by fostering your own healthy relationships.
Okay, the next C is character. Children with character enjoy a strong sense of self worth and confidence. They're in touch with their values and they're comfortable sticking to them. They can demonstrate a caring attitude towards others. They have a strong sense of right and wrong, and they're prepared to make wise choices and contribute to the world. So every family is going to have their own idea about what makes a good character. But whatever these specifics are, children do need an understanding of right and wrong and the capacity to follow a moral compass. So have a few moments to think about what good character means for your family. What are your morals? What are your rights and wrongs? And what do you already do to build character in your child? So, some ideas to support your child to develop good character are: talk to your child about how their behavior affects other people in both the good and the bad ways. Help your child to consider right and wrong when they're making choices. When you're making decisions, express out loud how you're considering other people's feelings and needs. And as Karen mentioned earlier, being a role model to our child for what we want to see in them can be really helpful. So, some tips for positive role modeling are to be mindful of how we address ourselves. So, for example, you might say out loud, "Oh God, I'm so stupid, I forgot to pick up milk." And your child might hear this, and the next time they forget something, they might feel that they're stupid. So, it's really important that we speak to ourselves in a positive way too.
So, our next C is contribution. So, when children help others and receive gratitude and appreciation, they will learn that contributing feels good and they'll be more willing to take action and make choices that improve the world. They may also turn to others more easily without shame. A child who contributes might say something like, I like helping my teacher give out the books at school. So, how can we help children develop in this area? You can maybe give your child a job at home, like drying the dishes, helping with the food shop, feeding the pet. This promotes feelings that they are important. And if we praise them for their efforts they make, this will also boost their self esteem. And as we learned earlier, self esteem is the building block of I am. So take a moment and think, does your child help out at home or in school or in the wider community? Could you give them more opportunities to demonstrate their independence and to show that you trust them? And when they do help out, how do you show your appreciation?
Okay, so the next C is coping. Children who have a variety of healthy strategies to help them in times of stress are better prepared to overcome life's challenges. So, if we think back to our three building blocks of resilience, coping is self regulation, or I can. So, a child who has developed good coping skills might say, I can count to 10 and practice my breathing exercises when I start to feel angry. So, how can we support children in this area? Well, firstly, you can help your child recognize their emotions. You can do this by asking them how certain emotions feel in their body. So they might say, I know I'm angry because my face gets hot and my heart starts to beat faster. Help them to understand the emotion, that it's okay to feel that way, and identify what may have caused the feeling. Together, you can then think of strategies to help them deal with the emotion. So for some kids, when they're feeling angry, they might need a hug, but for other kids, they might need some time out, some space to cool down. So explore with your child what will work best for them. It is important to remember that if your child is really upset, stressed, or overwhelmed, it might not be the right time to have this conversation. And instead, it will be more important to help them to regulate their emotions and calm down. And later on, we're going to be sharing some tools that can help children regulate their emotions. Encourage your child to talk about how they're feeling. And if you do this regularly as a family, it's going to be easier for your child to talk when there's something really going on for them. So take a moment and think, do we talk about our emotions at home? What am I modeling to my child? When I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed, how do I deal with those emotions? How do I react? And what is my child learning from me? How does my child deal with big emotions?
So, our final C is control. When children learn that they have control over their decisions and actions, and when they understand that respect and privileges are earned, they will learn to make wise choices and feel a sense of control. So, something like, I can control my angry feelings if somebody says something hurtful to me. Again, here we see the building block of resilience, I can, or the self regulation one. So, how do we help children develop a sense of control? So, again, praise and encourage your child. Highlight the positives more and notice when they're trying to change a negative behavior and praise them for these efforts. For example, your child could come home from school, throw their jacket on the ground, and sits down at the table and starts to do their homework. So rather than focusing on the fact that they didn't hang up their jacket, praise them for getting started on their homework. You can still acknowledge the jacket on the ground, but start with something positive first. So something like, thanks for getting started on your homework so quickly, but would you mind hanging up your jacket when you finish that page? Thanks. By changing our way of thinking to being more positive, we can get the best out of our child. So have a moment and think, do I praise my child when they try to change in their behaviors? And when talking to my child, do I often focus on what they haven't done rather than what they have done? So that's our final C. And we know that you're probably doing some of this already, but we hope that you've got a few new ideas to practice at home.
Thanks, Karen. So before we finish, we'd like to share some self-regulating tools with you. So these are tools that we can practice when we're feeling overwhelmed, and they can help us calm down. They're not just for children, so feel free to practice with us as we demonstrate them now. Okay, so Karen, you're going to do them with me. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. So the first one is the butterfly hug. So what we're going to do is we're going to cross our hands and we're going to create a little butterfly, and we're going to place the butterfly on our chest. And then we're going to start to pat our hands, our right hand and our left hand, nice and slowly. And while we do this, we're going to inhale and exhale, nice and slowly. And we can continue with this action until we start to feel ourselves calm down. Now, sometimes if you're doing this, children might tap really fast and really hard at the beginning to match their heartbeat if they're really angry, if they're really worked up. But as they start to breathe in and out, it can start to make them calm down, and the tapping of the hands will also start to slow down. Okay, our next tool is the clam cuddle. So again, we're going to cross our arms and we're going to place our hands on our shoulders. So your right hand should be on your left shoulder and your left hand on your right shoulder. And what you're going to do is you're going to give yourself a really, really, really tight squeeze and hold it for a few minutes and then release. And you can practice that over and over again, going from really, 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 really tight to release. And what some kids also like to do as well, they might in their clam cuddle, they might rock from side to side, or they might rock back and forth, whatever it is that helps them to kind of calm down and relax again. Oh, sorry, I haven't moved on the slide. Sorry. Okay, there's the butterfly hug and the clam cuddle. And now we're moving on to the pufferfish puff. So this is a fun one. What you're going to do is you're going to puff out your cheeks like a pufferfish. So you're going to hold that position for 5 seconds, and then you're going to pop your puffed cheeks with your two index fingers. So, Karen, you're going to need to do this while I talk. So, you're going to puff out your cheeks, you're going to hold it for 5 seconds, and then you're going to pop your puffed cheeks. And this one's really good if, if someone's feeling very stressed and they're holding a lot of tension in their face and their jaw, this pufferfish helps them to relax all those muscles in the face. And it's also a bit of okay. Finally, we'll show you the bumblebee breath. So make sure you're sitting comfortably. You're going to place a finger in each ear, close your eyes, and you're going to breathe in through your nose. And as you breathe out, you're going to say the word buzz, for as long as you can. So we'll do it together, Karen. We're going to close our eyes, breathe in, and then we're going to say buzz for as long as we can. And what you can do is you can change the buzz to hum. So instead of a buzz, you can say hum. And whichever one you choose, you're going to feel a little bit of a like a vibration, a tickly feeling on the lips or the tongue, and it basically just helps children kind of reflect inwards and calm down. And they also find it a lot of fun because it's a bit of a challenge as well. So they're all of our self-regulating tools. Please do practice them at home with your kids.
That's great, Emma. Thanks. So, just before we finish up, we would just like to remind you of some of the supports offered by the ISPCC. So, we have our parenting support line, which is available from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. And this is available for parents and carers for information and advice. We also have our parenting support at ispcc.ie email for outside those times, or if you just prefer emailing. You can also find some information and advice on our parenting hub. So that's ispcc.ie/parenting hub. Our supports for children are our Childline listening service, which is available to young people under the age of 18, and it can be contacted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So this can be contacted through online chat at childline.ie, by text on 50101, or on the phone at 1-800 666666. So, if you've got any questions or you just want to chat about parenting supports, you can contact our community engagement team. So, that's Siobhan or Victoria at their emails there. And that's again. So, we just like to thank Calpol again for supporting this webinar series, and we hope that you found something useful for it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.